before the term influencer existed, I was running social media strategy at Lovesac for a furniture company. I joined them when they were doing, I don't know, 50 million annual. I everything that I do in life to an extent is finesse based. I mean, I'm an East Coast guy. I've got the gift of gab. I've got great energy. I can walk into a room and make people laugh and make people happy and excited. And my friend Andrew Flanagan's father told me when I was, told him when I was a kid, he's like, that Majlak, he's going to fall ass over feet into money for the rest of his life. And you're going to have to work your ass off, but he's not. And like, I try to remain extremely positive always and bring a really positive vibe to every scenario. And in a world where we're extremely anemic on positivity, it's refreshing. And so I had this job at Lovesac. I had a 401k, I had stock ownership, and this is coming with no credible background in marketing, completely fake it till you make it, like busted my way through the door there by way of Sean Nelson, the CEO. And I was good there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was just about to creep over 6-figure income there. I had stock ownership, 401k, retirement, and that's when I was introduced to Logan. We started back and forth. I joined him on the business side first, and then we started the podcast together in 2018. So.
You still have your 401k now?
No, I rolled it over. I do have have money managers. Like I'm not like completely like an idiot. Like I've got teams that manage my cash. But as far as like, I bought this in Houston, this, 2-family in Houston in 99 and it's, tripled my money. Never, dude. It's more like, oh, I lost 20K in Vegas this weekend.
Where do you get this level of confidence from? Like you're obviously very, very, very good with people and with words.
Yeah. It's something I've kind of always had. I've always had it. It's to an extent, like sometimes kind of non-credible and just created. But I think as you start to take credible actions in life and create an inventory of work, that's when your confidence really goes crazy. Like if I'd come and sat down here with you guys like 5 years ago, like, my vibe might be a little bit different, but you start to put together a catalog of work and successes and best-selling books and podcasts with presidents and, numerous things. And all of a sudden that will boost your confidence. And that's why it's important that people that don't have confidence do fake it, right? And find a way to immerse themselves in activities that scare them. Because that wading into the resistance is what will create confidence for you if you don't already have it. I tell people all the time, the resistance is where you want to be, as Yester would say, seek discomfort, right? Like that is where you want to live. Whatever is saying like, you're not ready for this, whatever is saying like you can't do this or might not be able to do this and it scares you and you feel your nerves and you sit down and you turn a camera on and you start sweating and stumbling over words you normally wouldn't. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing to create confidence.
But how do you rationalize that confidence when in the beginning of the podcast, or even maybe it was before we started filming, you were like, yeah, I have like horrible anxiety and like I snapped this, bracelet on my wrist.
It's been a tremendous undertaking. I mean, my mental health is it's probably the reason why it took as long as it took for us to get the show done. I mean, as much as I show up for my audience, I'll go non-external shows for months at a time if I'm going through a really rough time. I struggle a lot with my mind. I always have. It's part of the reason why I went to substances in the first place and spent, almost 10 years and all the things that I used to do, because I have to take steps every single day to cope with those situations. And so I guess that's kind of the answer to the question is like, that's my first job every day. I clock into that job before you get a text back, before I do any of my brand discussions, before I talk about 1010 Burger, before I talk about any of the new companies we're launching or set up, new guests for Impulsive. It's my first job, which is get up, rearrange my narrative that's in my mind that might not be one that is beneficial. It's go to the gym for an hour and sweat and continue to work on my body and drink water and do all these things that, at least I and people like me have to do just to show up to job number 2, which is this, and so I write a lot about this. I talk a lot about this. It's just something I've always dealt with, and you can see it in some of the first shows.
Yep.
I walked off set multiple times, having panic attacks, and haven't had panic attacks as much anymore. But even a few months ago, if anytime I go through a major life trauma, which it has never ended. I've been through so many and they just kind of continue. I'll be more prone to have those type of panic attacks and mental health emergencies or crises.
Has making more money helped boost your confidence?
It's funny because like the confidence and the mental health, ironically, like don't play as much together as you would think. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's more of like, just like, because like I said, like I've always been super confident. Like I will look back at, the girls that I was dating when I was 15 years old or when I was 100 pounds overweight after I always had a hot girlfriend. I always had a bunch of great friends. I always was doing something that people were like, how is he doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he doing a show with this person, or how did he get connected to the president, or why, like that kind of stuff is always I've always been able to make that stuff happen. So from a confidence standpoint, yeah, money surely helps fuel that, but it doesn't help with mental health. It's that whole like money is going to fix everything. It's like, dude, there's a reason why the problem doesn't go away for Anthony Bourdain or for Robin Williams or for, other people who have endless amounts of money, who, by the way, are also some of the most beloved. They're not, these are people who are like not even really criticized. They're like people that are just universally adored and loved people, because it's just something that unfortunately is you got to work on it all the time, and it unfortunately continues to become more and more prevalent because of the phones and social media and everything that we have nowadays.
So at what point in your life, though, would you say that you got rich? And what in your life did improve then, if not for more mental health and like, clarity and stuff like that?
The one thing like that really improves the most about your mental health is like when you get to a point where I remember having to like put $2 in gas into my gas tank. You know what I'm saying? To go to the methadone clinic. Like I remember it, and I had a Ford, this like little Ford SUV that the catalytic converter was like broken on, and it would smoke on the highway, and like I would have to like. I remember those days, and so when I see money, I look at like I see money as security. I don't look at it as like, oh, I could get a bigger house or I could get this. Like I look at it as like, I know that I have gas for the next 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think like that is the biggest blessing you could ever have. Like, yo, if I don't really this up in a meaningful way, like there's a chance that I might not have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's what so many people out there, have to think about when they wake up in the morning is like, how am I going to eat today? How am I going to pay my rent? And being able to kind of like put that away and to not have to think about that the second you wake up every day is the gratitude that does keep you sane when you don't always feel sane, because you just can't help but feel so thankful for that ability in life to not have to worry about how you're going to eat that day and how you're going to put gas in your car. You know what I'm saying? And so many people have to worry about that. And so that's definitely one of the biggest changes. And then after that, it opens you up to explore and to try new things and to create new mediums and to evolve, where if you're a 9-to-5er, you really have to like hustle. And I did that. Like I remember when I first went over to work with Logan at Maverick after Tokyo, I talk a lot about risk in the book and about calculated risk, not gambling. And so when I was going to go over to Maverick and start working with Logan on the business side, I made sure that I took Lovesac with me. So I consulted to Lovesac for a monthly rate as a consultant because I wanted to make sure that like, hey, like, you just did Tokyo and then you tased that rat, and like, what are you going to do next? Like, what if Maverick, even though it's doing $50 million a year in revenue right now in 2018, by the way, what's going to happen, or sorry, 2017, major difference between 2017 and 2018 for that organization. What happens if something worse happens, right? So for me, I'm a straddler. I'm a big believer in diversified income, diversified revenue streams, and everybody needs to get into that habit. Like you need multiple verticals of revenue to really feel that security because things happen.
And at what point would you say you became rich?
Honestly, like a lot of my like realizations about money have come from losses, which is funny because I remember those days more. I'll always remember like, you know, when I first started getting like six figure wires, like I'll remember that and like, okay, like wow, I just got a, you know, check for $260,000. Like that's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like it just hits your account. You wake up and you're eventually gets to a moment where you're just like, it just goes in with the rest of the money and maybe it doesn't even hit you the same. But the days I remember the most are it maybe like the first year I had to pay 7-figure taxes was probably like, I remember the day, like it was yesterday, and my accountant called and shout out Alex. And he was like, hey, we just, you know, revised all your numbers and we have your final figure. And I think in my mind, I was like, you know, 560, 720, like, where's it gonna land? This is when I really first started making money. And he was like, by next Monday, you got to wire out like 1.23 million to the, and I was like, what? And I remember my Bank of America, I looked at my account and the number for the wire had to go down to another line. So like, you know how it's all lines of your spends and debits and credits in your account? It had to go down to the next line. So it was like 1,230, like, and then 0, 0, you know what I'm saying? Like it went down to another line and I was like, bro, this is horrible. And now I look back and I'm like, obviously it was a blessing to have made that much money and to I guess be able to contribute to fix that many potholes. But like, just when you start sending those, and I remember there was the Drake lyric before I ever even made that much money, and he was like, nowadays it's 6 figures when they tax me. And I would always hear him say that before I even started making money. And then by the time it came to me, it was 7 figures. And I was like, oh my God. And now I've done that multiple times, obviously. And it's just been, you know, when you start moving in those levels, it's, you know, that's kind of when you start having the realizations like, okay, like I've made some money here.